So with me on the line, I have Graham McIntosh, who is a political veteran in South Africa. On the 3rd of October, he released a statement saying that he has left the Democratic Alliance, and it's time to get it from the horse's mouth as to why he left. Graham, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I couldn't be better.
Great. So on the 3rd of October, you released a press statement saying that you resigned as a member of the DA. You did so because you can't, in all conscience, and I'm quoting you, support and work for the DA with Chris Pappas as a DA provincial leader in KZN, but you would give all possible support to the multi-party charter, otherwise known as the Moonshot Pact. Now,
Correct.
You say in your statement, you say Chris Pappas never misses an opportunity to mention his own sexuality and thus promotes the homosexual agenda of a tiny militant activist lobby within the estimated 3% of registered voters who may be homosexual. Now, before we get into that, let's define the terms. What, according to your understanding, is the homosexual lobby? What is the gay agenda, and what is the militant activist gay lobby?
I think you must ask them that, not me. You must ask the 3% of people who were there. And I don't think I need to tell that. Everybody knows how they lobby, and they know they have a whole set of initials, which is very difficult to all remember, but it's a homosexual lobby, and that's the accurate, unemotional word to use. And that's how I see it. And everybody's aware of it. But the point is, I want to fight to get the ANC and the communists out of power. And I want to do it through the pact, through the charter, as they call it, or charterists. And in KwaZulu-Natal, which is very important, there's a very strong service delivery pact between the IFP and the DA. Now, that's the main thing. And one must keep the main thing the main thing. And that's what I want to do. And because Chris Pappas raises the issue of his personal and private sexual life, it would make it difficult for me to go and work for the DA. But I can work for the pact, and I can work for the charter.
Would you be more comfortable if Chris Pappas was maybe just a little bit slightly more in the closet?
Well, I think it's a person's personal preference. You know, ROSCOE, I don't want to know what you and your wife do when you close the door for your bedroom.
I'm not sure I want you to know what we do when we close the bedroom.
Exactly. So why must I know what a guy wants to stand as a provincial premier candidate? Why must I know what he does? I'm not interested.
But again, so I'm trying to pass this between the different aspects of your politics. A big part of your politics is that you are liberal. Is being, in this instance, I would say, anti-gay part of being a liberal?
No, look, I think liberal for me is...
Sorry, Graham, we just lost you there for a second. If you could just start your input again.
Grown up.
Sorry, Graham. We
Christian values.
Graham, we just lost you for a second. Could you please repeat that? What you said?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
All right, I don't know. Look, in politics, I'm a liberal. I believe fiercely as a liberal on the principle of J.S. Mill, fair but fearless. In other words, be fair. Hear the other side. I'm a rational person who wants to understand everybody's point of view, but that doesn't mean I agree with it. I've grown up with my guide being a biblical Christian standard, and that's why, for example, I disagreed over the abortion issue with Helen Sussman when we were in the in the PFP because I've got a personal conscience. And it's essentially a personal conscience deriving from religious values. And if people want to promote a certain kind of set of ethics or values or lifestyle or sexuality, I've got a perfectly good right to disagree with them. And to say, well, look, you carry on. I'm not going to try to defend it.
But of course, as a Christian, you follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, and maybe you could correct me in this. But to my knowledge, I don't think that Jesus said anything against homosexuality.
No, I don't think he did as such. But he did when he was talking about sexuality to a woman at the well in Samaria, and he knew she was. What we call a lady of easy virtue. He just said, go and sin no more.
But that's not necessarily Jesus saying against. So where do you derive the I would say the mission to stand against homosexual people, biblically speaking?
It's not my mission to stand against.
Oh, well, mission. I would say disposition then.
No, I'm not going to. I don't stand against it. I'm tolerant. I mean, I love Nathaniel. He's great. And Peter Dirk Uys. I enjoy them. But because I'm tolerant of them, it's an entirely different thing. To go to the voters, the vast majority of voters, and ask them to vote for a premier candidate who promotes a sexuality which is unacceptable to 95% of the people. So if he wants to fight that battle, let him fight it. But I'm not fighting it for him.
Look, if my daughter continues to not do the dishes, can I sell her into sexual slavery, as according to the prescripts of the Bible?
I don't understand your logic.
No, the Bible says that I'm allowed to sell my daughter into sexual slavery. Am I allowed to do that?
I'm not aware of that.
Well,
where does it say that?
I believe Exodus 21.
Well, look, I haven't got my Bible in front of me. I'll Google it quickly.
I do have a well-worn Bible in front of me. In fact, it's got my name on it from the time that they tried to turn me into an evangelical. They didn't quite succeed. Okay, in fact, they turned me into a communist. But I'm saying that, do you? I believe that you're cherry picking what is from the Bible according to your sensibilities. For example, you and I wouldn't sell our daughters into sexual slavery.
Look, I'm not interested in debating the sexualities of the Bible. I'm concerned that we've got to win an election to defeat the Communist Party, and which masquerades with the ANC. We've got to get these guys out of power because they're destroying our country. Do
you find that it was a difficult sell for you culturally? Chris Pappas being gay. It would, from what I take from your statement, that it would be difficult for you to canvass support based on Chris Pappas' sexuality and the cultural landscape of KZN.
No, exactly. But it's not the sexuality; it's the fact that he pushes it all the time. That's the problem. Because I've got to fight a campaign. I've got to go into rural areas, talk to ministers and churches, and there's a guy who flaunts the fact that he's married or was married or planning to marry another man. I mean, hulle sal vir jou met 'n visoog aankyk.
I mean, that's...
And it's also a matter of no importance, actually. You must always have the priority of defeating the Communist Party and the ANC. That's what the priority is. I want to see Ramaphosa, after the elections, as leader of the opposition, with a new government from that pact and from the charter.
So I understand that you have now joined the IFP.
Correct.
Is it why did you join the IFP?
I joined the IFP because I've always been very close and friendly with them. But I couldn't carry on with the DA I want to keep the main thing, which is to defeat the communists and the ANC. And that's the main thing. And where can I do it? If I can't do it with the DA in KwaZulu-Natal, I'll do it with the IFP. And I've been very close to Buthelezi for 50 years. I was at his funeral. It was an extraordinary event. And if you look up a man called Jordan Ngubane, he was a liberal who warned Luthuli. He said, Luthuli, be careful of the communists. And the communists came in basically through the Freedom Charter. The Freedom Charter was their entrance into the ANC. And ever since then, they've concealed it, they've kept it hidden, and so on. And I want to work hard and support people who will be part of the pact. The IFP's there, and the DA's there, and Mashaba's there, and the Phrase Front. And those four guys, they're not pop idols, boy. They're not pop stars.
If the Communist Party was as powerful as what you say it is, and I wish the Communist Party was as powerful as what you say it is, because then we wouldn't have such neoliberal policies afflicting us in South Africa. So, what is your read on why on this communist conspiracy? I wish it was true, but it just simply isn't, Graham.
Well, ROSCOE, you bluff. The communists believe they have a policy of concealment. Now, if you look at that press statement on the 10th of October, there were a bunch of guys at the Harry-Gwala Stadium in Pietermaritzburg looking at the ANC manifesto. All communists. Zweni Mkhize was there. Zweni Mkhize was with Harry Gwala planning the insurrection and killing of IFP people in KwaZulu-Natal. And don't be bluffed. That whole story was a deliberate attempt by the communists to try to smash the IFP. So, and not only that, look at your South African Democratic Teachers Union. It's completely communist.
They're not communist. They're 100% not communist. They're actually I did a clip on this. They abandoned their support for one of the key principles in the Western Cape. They are far from communist. In fact, they're embedded with the employers.
Well, I mean, they have to have a salary, but SATU sells posts. They take bribes. They say to guys, you want to be a vice principal here, you want to go there, you want to go. Kokimali, we want your money.
I would love for that to be, if you have any evidence of that, I would 100% flight that, and I would 100% advocate against that stuff. But I want to come back to this main point. Would you still have been a DA member had Chris Pappas just been a little bit more quiet about his fabulousness, for lack of a better term?
No. That's a theoretical question. I can't answer that because he hasn't been. I mean, it's an argument from vacuum. And the point, ROSCOE, for me, is you've got to get your priorities right. The priorities right is to get rid, from my point of view, of the ANC, SACP, what we in the black townships of South Africa, we say, e Congolosi. And my view is, futsat e Congolosi.
Are you aware of the Zulu term, izinkoshone?
Izinkoshone is to fall down, to oppress.
Maybe I've got the wrong word. Or maybe the concept of labonga?
Lobola, no.
Labonga.
Labonga,
yes.
I'm not aware of that.
It's the practice of sex between Zulu warriors, sex between impis.
Oh, I see
yes.
that. Well, no, I never heard of that. No.
I mean, it was so common that they created a word to define this relationship.
No, there's a term in Zulu called uku hlobonga. Now, because Shaga would not allow his impies to marry or have sex with a woman.
Yes, he used that as an incentive. Yes.
What they allowed was what was called ukuhlobonga,
Yes.
which means it's sex or between the thighs. It's not penetration.
Between men.
Oh, no, not. I'm completely ignorant of that. Never heard of it.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not
the
saying
concept of boy wives, which is similar to pederasty in ancient Greece, where a romantic relationship between an older male and a younger male, usually a teen, was allowed. Similarly,
I mean, yeah, but I'm a Christian. I'm not a pagan Greek.
yes, but you are aware of these concepts within Zulu culture, which is the baseline
I
of.
don't accept that. I'm not aware of it in Zulu culture.
Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
Right.
But I mean, there's so many cases which are perfectly decent, pure, where an older man and a younger person has it. In Greek, you have disciple. But the concept of structured older, younger, I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Well, Graham, you're now in the IFP. What is your what's your program for the next until the elections?
Well, it depends. I mean, obviously, I've joined the party, and in due course, I'm sure they will have some ideas and help. But I'm at their service. They must tell me how I can help. Obviously, I try to give them some money, and which I did to the DA. I'd like also to thank Buthelezi. There's a thing called the Buthelezi Foundation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi Foundation, which was partly founded when Obasanjo was here. And I mean, that is a foundation. It's to build the history. I've supported that. And also it has helped with the digitization of his records. So I've done my best to help people to find money to digitize his records, which has gone a long way down the road. But that's not the IFP. That's the Buthelezi Foundation. Now, the IFP is another thing. It's a political party. We'll just have to see what happens. And what do you do in an election? You speak at meetings, you write letters, you canvass, you support them, you go to cake sales, if that's your scene. And I'm happy to do all those things.
Well, Graham, I hope next time you're in Cape Town, I hope we can make some time and have some arguments in person as we usually do. But
sure.
Thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you soon.